All right, so we're recording. So welcome, ladies. We are still missing Miss Linda. Miss Nancy is not going to join us, and I don't know about Miss Georgia. So she may be joining us eventually, or both. Georgia might be. Well, and actually Linda might be too. So I don't know. We'll see. But I want to start basically on time and welcome everybody to our last class. My goodness. It went really fast, didn't it? It seemed to go really fast. Does anybody have any questions, comments, feedback? We'll collect a little bit of feedback towards the end of this class. I think Terry Lynn and I always like to know what we can be doing better and that kind of stuff. But anything for me right now before we jump on in? Everyone good? All right, so I think Miss Terry Lynn, I'm going to turn it over to you, my friend.
Okay, you're disappearing again. I miss it. I miss you when you disappear.
Well, I'll come in the end again, okay? I'm still here.
Well, some of you have given me sent some good paintings that you put them up on the Padlet and stuff, so we could kind of share about that. I think I'll start there because I thought that was kind of fun. Looking through, I got to get to Amanda did her beautiful little cat. Where is she? Here she is.
Aww.
Now,
wow.
You can obviously see that Amanda's had some painting experience, but this is
just a little bit.
just a little bit. Just a little bit.
But this is beautiful. It's sensitive. She has a definite style. No matter how many times you try to work like someone else or learn from someone else, your own personality and style are going to come out. And I think that's very evident here in Amanda's. Now, do you mind if I share, Amanda? We had a little discussion about this back haunch here. To me, this is where the top of the front haunch is. And this one seems a little high, like
a little high, yeah.
Like if you drew through the body and you think what's happening on the other side of this cat, I would think the haunch would be down around in this area.
She's actually sitting on a curved cat scratching board. So that's why one haunch is like, it looks like it's higher than the other because it's a curved one. So that one leg that's higher is.
Yeah, where did that go?
It's at the top, I think.
Is it at the top?
Yeah, right there at that one.
Oh,
it's a curved.
See, so it is a little bit higher.
Yeah, because she's sitting on that curved scratching board and like, so she's like in the middle, but she always has that particular paw like on top of something like that. She's like,
she's so cute.
Isn't she cute?
Yeah, so I didn't see the picture before I saw her painting, and that's why I kind of critiqued it that way. And then she showed me this. I'm like, oh, duh. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
So, because we're not going to see other, later on, we'll do a little sharing toward the end here. Anyone else have some ideas or thoughts? Let me zoom in here. We got this nice stripe on the tail. She's obviously done it in layers. You can see lighter layers and then some of the heavier layers. And then she's brushed across with that hair that makes a nice. And it's always in the direction of the way the hair is growing, like on the back. Go ahead, Amanda.
I haven't thought about.
What?
I haven't thought about that. If you're asking for the.
Oh, Colleen. Okay, sure.
Okay, if you go back to the picture of the kitty again.
Yeah.
Man, eyes are beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I had trouble with her eyes at first, actually.
The photograph of the kitty.
Yep.
Oh. Yes.
Oh. All right. Well, then I was wrong. I was looking at the curve on the right side as we're looking at it, where the brown comes up. If you could point to the point of it, all the way up to the point toward her foot.
To her foot? This one?
No, the curve of brown on the right hand side.
This?
The lower one. Yes, the lowest one there. Now follow that to the point by her foot. Up to the left.
Oh, you mean if
Right there.
it's from her
No,
back
right-
down her
Right there,
haunch?
right. Oh, no, go back where you were. I'm trying to get you to stop at one point. Oh, that right there. Stop, stop, stop. Okay, now if you draw a line across to the top of the haunch, is that what you're calling it, her other leg? Yeah,
Yes.
you see that it's just a little bit higher than that brown line.
Yes, because
So-
again, she's sitting on this curved surface.
Yeah, but I mean, if you were going to show that to somebody, you wouldn't have the time to say to them, "Well, she was sitting on a curved surface," you know.
Yeah,
know-
so yeah, I get what Terry Lynn was saying about like her haunches should have been even if she was sitting like straight.
Yeah, but that point I
So-
think is a big help because it's kind of pointing up to where the haunch starts.
This is
Mhm.
like her knee area, yeah.
Yeah, that's her knee.
And then sometimes it's like, do I paint exactly what I'm seeing, or do I need to make some adjustments so
Yeah,
it
that's what
suits?
I meant.
Mary Lynn, could she
Yeah.
have just left it all off altogether? Or do you think it would have looked unbalanced?
Well, if you block that out, it probably wouldn't bother much, but she's
No.
very softly in there.
Yeah, I just didn't know, like, when you had done that with Colleen's dog, yes, last time, and left off a foot, a couple feet coming out.
Because it would still, even without that, if you kind of block that, she still works. The cat
Mhm.
Mhm.
very well.
Yeah.
But
And I
that
did
hip-
debate whether to take that haunch out too.
but that haunch makes it look more three-dimensional because it looks more three-dimensional with that puffy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, Amanda. That's one. Did you do more, Amanda, or is that kind of what you focused on this week?
Oh no, I'm working on Jack right now.
Okay.
You'll get to see him in a bit. He's not done. I'm having issues with his little furs here.
Okay. I'm going to put the link to this into the chat as we get going. You guys are painting. So if you want to put your next painting up, the one you're working on today in here, you can. Now this is
Terry Lynn, excuse me, I'm just gonna pop in here again. Someone's got a lot of noise in their background. And it might be that, it's for sure she's still on the phone. I don't know if it's
Could be
Amanda's or,
Yeah, I'll mute
Okay.
myself in now
All right,
since
thanks,
we're
honey.
off of my babies.
thank you, Amanda.
this is Colleen's pup here. And, way back, like I did, I totally marked it all up. But just trying, this is back when we were talking about those simple shapes, getting the paws off from there, because that would have looked odd in a painting coming off the face. And she's done some tremendous work here, just working through. And I'm so happy that so many of you are doing multiple paintings and really working at it. And you learn, that's where you learn. She's trying to work with the chest muscles in here and also this aspect. Now, when I did it, remember how black that is? And that would draw your eye over there because that's great contrast. So again, changing what you see in the photo to make a better painting by lessening that contrast in the background and focusing here on the face. This is a pretty good proportion. If we check it out, the from the tip of the chin to the top of the head, it's about the body from here to the butt is about twice that. So doing a quick measurement, boom, boom, not counting the ears to get about how it is here. I think this got a little long, Colleen, but that's no big deal. And she added in some more shading, trying to push that body because the body's white. It is white. But again, that contrast will pop it forward. This I like because she started working with a fun background. And is that the last? And then she focused on the face. So if we look at this, see she's added in, even though the dog on the body is not much brown, by adding a little hint of that warmth of brown there, it helps bring it in relationship to the face. Just a little hint. It can be the light reflecting or ground or who knows, but that brown just softens that and brings it in. And the focus is still on the face because you've got the highest contrast and the most detail in the eyes and the nose. I can remember how to click this. I think it's just click once. And then she focused right in on the face, which she is her favorite part. This is what it's all about. So
I didn't know, I didn't put any yellow in the eyes, and I wanted to, but I was not sure of where to do it. And then the two dots, the dot on our right is good, but the dot on the left needs a little bit of
it
making it smaller.
doesn't feel like it's following that
It's too big.
spherical
It's,
shape of the eyeball, because the eyeball is still
Right.
here. Yeah.
yeah,
And
the one on
actually-
the right is okay. Looks like she maybe have visual difficulties in her left eye.
I think because you have the highlight right where the pupil would go. Maybe. But maybe just soften that a little bit and it would be great. Anyone else?
I was very unhappy with the body. It was discouraging. I was going to do it again right away, and then I got busy and I haven't done it. But I will.
You might try by blocking the head and doing a light spray of water on the body. Let it sit there for a minute or two, and then either try to bring it up, kind of sweep it up with a dry brush, kind of lift it, wipe this off with a paper towel, lift it up again, or blot with a paper towel. It might lighten this area of the body a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. I tried to lighten this one. I think I can't do much more with it. It was getting to the point of scrubbing the watercolor paper, but on my next one, I want to do the body first so that it looks more like the whiskers are over the body, because that was a real fighting point right there.
Yes.
The whiskers over top of the body.
Yeah, and depending on the quality of paper, you can only work it so much anyway, even high quality watercolor paper. So my suggestion is always try it again, because you're going to learn so much. I think the head could be a little bit bigger in relationship to the body, and maybe this chest muscle. See how the chest muscle goes there? That's coming down a little too far, but
Yeah, I couldn't undo what I did there. It looks like she's got an extra leg or a muscle in her
Yeah.
chest or something.
But again, the more we do it, the more we learn. Very
Yeah.
good. So
Is
this-
anybody else but me getting a lot of feedback, or is it my iPad?
Now,
I'm
there's a little bit of feedback, and I'm not sure where it's coming from, Colleen.
Okay,
Hopefully it'll clear up shortly, though. Sorry about that.
it's no problem. You can't fix it.
So this is Donna. We saw this last week, yes?
Yeah, yep.
So she's
And,
been working. I think I asked Donna, did you do this from life, this little sketch of Miss Winnie?
I had a picture, but I forgot to put it up. So I was drawing from a photograph.
I like that. That's
Mm-hmm.
and that's just a little like pencil sketch, basically.
Because one thing I found when we first started, and so I do just a little sketching of animals, that my painting of Keffy last week got better when I did a better drawing. It's just what you're saying.
Yes. So drawing does help. It really helps. And that's what we were talking about, maybe doing drawing. But Pam and I wanted to encourage people just to get out there and start painting and have some fun and go like, okay, now you have an idea now. Do I want to continue working on this?
Mhm.
So, you don't want to do a lot of investment of time and supplies until you know it's something you would like to do.
Mm.
Is adorable.
I just wanted to break in here for a second just to tell you there's a couple of bears, a mom and a baby across the street right now from me. No, there's three. No, there's four.
Huh.
So I'm just telling you, they're back out again, ladies.
Bears with the cubs?
No, these are pretty big ones. If they're cubs, they're growing pretty big.
Like, yeah. Oh,
You
cool.
don't have a way to show them to us?
I don't think you're gonna be able to see them.
Shucks.
Yeah, I'll try to take a picture and show you if I can.
I can't really do this side by side, but see her first one here, which is adorable. I love the personality of that. And then this one, it looks even more lifelike. Anyone else? I think she's got a great combination of smudging and blending and wet on wet and then texture and brushes. And it gives that feeling of crazy, right?
Yeah, it looks like she's saying, you mean you got a treat for me?
Terry, you really helped me last week because you helped me get to that next place where I was using wet on wet because I was a little nervous about it. I don't have much experience with it. So it made a huge difference. Thank you.
You can see the layers in here, Donna. This is just, it's really beautiful. You can see the lighter wet on wet wash. You kind of let that dry. You brought in those darker areas in just the right spots. And then you came back over with that brush to bring in hair, because she's just, what type of pup is she?
She's a mini Bernedoodle.
A Bernedoodle?
Yeah, mini. So right now she's about 7 pounds.
Oh
She's
my gosh.
Her dog. Yeah, she's adorable.
She is adorable. I'm going to go back to your first. Yeah, I mean, you tried here. There is some wet in wet, but not as effectively as the newer one. Now, this Padlet, ladies, everybody can go back and look at these anytime you want to, because I'm going to leave this up for a while. I don't have any intent of taking it down. Anyone else on that? Comments? I know what the echo is. It's me speaking on somebody else's computer. I don't know how it's coming through somebody's speaker. Okay, and Donna M. Oh.
Yep.
Okay, I don't have any.
No, I've done a little bit more, but I think I'm having trouble with getting it to look like fur. So sort of that brush that you were using to pull it to make it look like fur, I still need to learn how to do that. And there's so many, I don't know how to find the right colors for Sid.
Sid is complex, and
yeah, especially all that white.
Kiwi's kind of like the fur, kind of the shading follows the form. This doesn't have to be cat. So I would like do the lights very quickly, just soft light grays in here. And then while the edges are still somewhat damp, go ahead and start putting in your lightest grays and do that all over the body. Anyway, not white. And
well, can I show you what I did a little bit more?
So I would build those layers, and then at the very end, notice the directions of the hair are very important.
Right, yeah. And I don't know how to do that.
What?
I don't know how to do that.
Oh, I'll show. It's you take, can you see my hand? I don't know.
Yeah.
You take your brush from where it's growing out of the body and just lightly kind of drag and lift.
Okay.
Drag and lift.
Is that wet on wet or no?
For the fur, the finishing fur, it would be more on dry.
Okay.
Okay. And you don't want to do it all over. You want to do it here and there to indicate it. He's a short-haired cat. He doesn't have the fur that this. Okay.
No, he doesn't. No. I did find the right color for his nose, I think. I guess I can show you later.
Yeah, we can get it up here. The nose is like that soft pinky.
Yeah, but it's not real pink.
No. I would start with a alizarin crimson, that purplish red, and maybe a hint of a yellow ochre, the mustard yellow.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Just soften it slightly and use it mixed pretty well with water.
Okay.
He does have a couple of very warm spots here and around
around his eyes. Yeah.
A very light wash of yellow ochre for those, again, the mustard.
Okay. And what about the white area? You want me to mix white and black and make gray?
No.
No.
You don't want much of pigment at all. Pigment is the paint. You want it mostly water, and you want a hint of if you look at it, it's more ultramarine blue than anything because it's reflecting.
I don't see blue at all.
Let me see if I can. Do other people see blue okay? I'm trying to get in closer. I can't. These areas of the shadow, they're
Mhm.
not the same gray as this. They're lighter,
Uh-huh.
just a little hint of blue will.
Hmm.
It almost looks like it's where the whiskers are coming out.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to explain, if you're more comfortable with a little black, but I would still add a little blue. And look right here, I don't know if you can see, but I can see a little hint of pink that's probably reflecting off his
Hmm.
tag.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, if I say a he or she, I'm sorry if I messed that up.
Yeah, well, it's Sid.
Good, okay. Yeah, there's a little, but it is very subtle. And the Impressionists, the French Impressionists in the mid 1800s were the first ones that really started working with how do you paint white? You don't paint
Mm-hmm.
with white, you add colors. There's a softness of blue or green or
Mm-hmm.
something in it. And that very, very, very subtle.
Okay.
Just to play around with, makes it a little more interesting. See how Donna added the little pink over here in the eyes. It just adds more, I don't know.
Uh-huh. Yeah, more interest. Yeah.
All right. Gay here. So Gay had, I'm sorry, this is moving a little slowly. We talked about her pet. She did this real, remember the beautiful sensitive eyes and nose, and the proportions are really good. Then she got talking about this jowl, just seemed to be like it had mumps or something. So I did a quick oversketch of it and said, the red line is basically where the face is, the structure of the dog's face. This is some fur sticking out from behind the face here. And it's causing a little problem, and trying to understand that is going to help. And she kind of stopped the painting right here. And I said, just go ahead and let that wash down. You don't have to finish it, but you can let that wash down into the bottom of the painting. Otherwise, you've got like this color of black here. So she worked on this. She changed the distinction between what was on the face here and what is on that jowl fur behind. So now you can have a little better shape of the face. You could either make that lighter or you can make it darker, whichever, something. I like her little fuzzy fur coming out to the sides too. And then she tried it all over again. Totally different dog. Right?
It's I don't know who that is, but it's certainly not Gus.
And it looks like a dog. It looks like a border collie. What kind is your dog?
He's a border collie.
He is a border collie. And
Yeah.
this just looks like a different border, like maybe a female, his girlfriend or something. This has these big brown eyes, and see his nose. The proportions here are really, really good. These work, but they're not the proportions of your dog.
Right.
Right, the size of the eyes to the nose and stuff.
Right.
That's a beautiful painting too. And you can see the shape of the face here is working better as well. Anyone else? I like how you drew back into this. You dragged some of this wetness up into
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I like that too.
Shadow.
Yeah,
And you did a spray bottle thing here.
I did.
So that's indicating some fur off to the side. It's fun. This eye is great. Look at the reflection on that. And a little softer reflection here. Very well done. This is so exciting. I love this. All right. Linda's not here. Georgia's not here. Okay. I put up some fun pictures to show you, but it's going to be quicker if I show you it.
Mary Lynn, I was just going to say, if you had comments about Linda or George's, they're going to probably watch the recording. So you might want to, because this is the last time that we're going to be meeting. So if you have anything to say, it might be worth. If they didn't post anything, that's fine too.
Yeah, they didn't post any paintings.
Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know. Okay.
Thanks.
Mhm.
All right. So I know you guys are anxious to paint. I showed you this last week. I think this is just so much fun because it's just a very few wet on wet strokes. See how it was all very light gray? See the pink in there? Donna, you can see the pink in that, right? It just kind of adds
Yes.
light to it. And a little bit of a light blue. It's not just black. This one, pretty much just black, but there's also some brown in there. as the more we work and look at paintings and stuff, we start dissecting the colors and we can see them more. I just love how this wet on wet in a very few strokes created this cat. Obviously painted around the eyes and left that very dry, and then came back in with a few finishing details. The whiskers, let's see if we can figure out what these whiskers are. No, the resolution's not high enough. My guess is that they're scratched. This one definitely looks scratched. Remember last week we talked about an X-Acto blade or something? I'm just kind of walking through. Look at other paintings and it will help you do so much. Wet on wet, starting with this. This also looks like they blew it, so it went off in the background and then added more and more black here down to the face. This one I think is fun. You don't have to stick with the exact color of your animal. Look at how this blue and this rust and stuff in here adds life and interest to this painting of a dog. Again, very simple, just few strokes. Start with the lighter washes under, come over with mid. Do you understand what I'm saying about the light wash and the mid wash and stuff? These are using very little pigment, mostly water. Then you come in, this has a little more paint in it. And then these dark, dark areas have a lot more paint. So there's at least 3 layers on this painting. Sorry, I skipped ahead. White dogs. White or white areas on a pet, very light, but still some shadows. And look how the strokes are in the direction of the fur as it changes. Here it's falling off his muzzle. Here it's heading up to his ear. A little pink in the ear always. So that's a nice one. And these, again, I put some of these up on the Padlet if you want to look at. This is a wet on wet. I think he's so cute. Look at the colors. And then here is just lifted. You start to tell the difference between if it's lifted or if it's scratched or if it's painted over. I have one painted over. This is just lifting. So the paint was in there. They took a damp brush, lifted it, cleaned the brush, and come back in. These I wanted to show because of the background. It's like what Colleen did with her background. Go ahead and, if you know, when you're comfortable, have some fun with that background. This artist also put color into the face. Again, this is low resolution, so sorry. But here in these white areas, if you didn't know that pen of Amanda that she had last week, I'm going to get myself one of those, would be great for details like this. But this was done with that resist. Remember last week we talked about a resist? It's like a rubber cement you paint on, let it dry, paint over it, and then lift it off when it's totally dry after. That's, you can almost tell because it's very consistent width in the line. But I'm showing you variety of things to do because this is my last chance. Here is one again. This is a resist. They put that on, let it dry totally. Came in with these nice loose washes. Now, if you didn't have the resist there, it would be very hard to keep thin white lines while creating this flowing wash around it. So that's why they do that way. Look at the detail on this eye. Again, sorry for low resolution, but you don't just throw the color in the eye. Drip this in, little different types, and you guys have been doing eyes.
There's some little white spots on the kitty cat.
Yep, I think that's resist again. So the reason I can tell it's resist is because you can see the texture of the paper underneath it.
Okay.
If it were acrylic paint splattered on, you wouldn't see the texture of the paper.
So they just did that on purpose, just for effect, I guess.
Yep, just for fun. I do that sometimes with mine. I'll just splatter some things on. Ways to splatter. You can take your, I don't know what to call these anymore, calligraphy brushes. Maybe I'll call it, or a sumi brush. I'll call it a sumi brush because they do the sumi drawing with this. You can load this up with paint and then kind of tap it down onto your paper to get a splattered effect. It takes practice to learn how to angle it. Or you can use an old toothbrush and you get some paint on there and you get your fingernails really dirty with this and you just splatter it around like that. And you can get some nice splatters for texture and just a difference of interest.
Okay, we're only seeing your face. We didn't see how you splattered.
Oh, you're only seeing my face? All right. Well, I'll do some example. Oh, you want me to see here? Maybe I could do it here. Here we are.
Yeah, I think it's really tiny, Terry Lynn. I
Yeah.
think
Let me do it in a
because
minute when I get through. Remind me, because I'll put those out. We can try that.
Yeah.
This again, nice dog. You can see almost, you guys are learning where it's wet on wet, where there's detail. He did some pen sketch underneath, then the watercolor over. Then he did some super wet on wet. See how it's soft and faded?
Mhm.
And then he did some splattering around. And it just kind of makes it interesting, but it can also cover up like, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing. Here, I'm going to splatter. You know what I mean? It's kind of a nice little distraction, but it adds to the feeling of the painting. Again, look at the eyes.
Do you think he put the black ears on afterwards with something other than?
Again, sorry, low resolution, but my guess is he did a pen sketch first and then added the wash over it, but it would have to be indelible pen that he used and not a water-based. Because if he used a water-based pen, when he added these washes in, that would bleed the pen. Make sense?
Yep.
Yeah. This one I thought is fun. Why not try something that's not
Yikes.
the color of your dogs? It's a little wild, but you can do something really fun with it. Play with color.
Mm,
This
that's
much
pretty.
also, a lot of loose wash around here. Adding in layers. For these feathers was just a little heavier layer, and then more when it was totally dry, brought in just a little bit of definition around the shadow side of each feather there and all the details in this. It's fun to look at other things and maybe go ahead and experiment with them, because that's going to help you learn so much. I'm going to have some scrap paper. Remember, we talked you can use the back side of the paper anytime. So, Pam, are you still there? You're so quiet.
I am still here.
Oh, I see, because you switched me.
Yes, I did.
The splattering. Now, you can see I have my big palette here today. I have two of these. I just happen to have this. My little one I put in the car to go sketch on location. I forgot to bring it back, and I'm like, oh no. I mean, I could have gone out to the car, but I wanted to show you this too. And some of these paints have been in here for years, and you can keep using them. The nice thing with watercolor, you just wet it again, and you can keep using it. My grandmother, I inherited some of her watercolor, and I got them out of the tube, and I can still use them. They're fine. So to splatter, if you wanted to, you wet your brush, pick up some paint. Remember, we're talking if you're looking some textures, and then see how it's kind of splattering there? So that's kind of fun to do. Am I at the right angle here? So that's one way of splattering. And the other way is with your toothbrush. I always wet it first and then dry it. Don't know why. It's not totally dry, it's damp now. So here you can pick up paint. And this is a little more controllable, but it doesn't see the variety of these splatters. This splatter is going to be more tiny. And see, by twisting the brush, I can get the splatters to head off in different directions. Wait, can you see that okay?
I feel like I'm watching an episode of CSI
CSI.
with the blood splatter.
So it does get under your fingernail, you know, but it washes out eventually. So that's a fun aspect to do too. You can also use an old toothbrush for textures like that. The trick with this is it's very, if you do it a number of times, you're going to get pretty much the same pattern, and that doesn't look very natural. Right. So do you all have you all seem to be working and thinking already. Have something.
Terry, you also told us to bring sponges. Did you just mean the sponge to lay your brushes on, or did you mean one of those little round sponges that some people use in watercolor?
A natural sponge?
Yes.
Yeah, I natural sponges you can use. They're great for textures and printing. That's one thing I wanted to show again. Let's see, where to do that. Sorry. Did I close it? I guess I closed it. I meant just a sponge.
Not like this.
Yeah, but those are great. I wasn't going to get too complicated. But that is a wonderful thing to use. I'm going to, those are expensive now too, right?
I don't know. I've had it for a number of years.
Yep, that's great. Remember this sheet that I sent you, and it has a number of things that you can use, you know, your flat wash, your graded wash. With one of those natural sponges, you can do this stamping. I don't have my natural sponge here right now, but you make a puddle of paint on your palette, dip it in there, and you can get some nice, and look how it works nicely for bushes, and it could work for curly hair on a pet or something. So do refer maybe back to some of these. There's the splattering again. Again, the first week I just kind of skimmed over that quickly.
I don't remember seeing that. When did you send that out?
Pam, I think that went out with the first,
Yeah, yes, it was either before the first class or it was attached to the,
Okay, I'll
file.
find.
If you can't find it, Colleen, let me know. I'll
Oh,
send it.
I probably will. You know, for a while there, it was very popular to do your walls with sponges like that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that. I'm gonna stick that into the chat, so you can just grab it and download it from the chat if you want. I also want to put in the Padlet link in case you want to upload. I have to wait till everyone's here. If I put in a link before everyone's in the group, then the people that come late cannot see what's already in the chat. Did you know that, Pam?
I did not know that.
Yep. If somebody comes in late and there's already been a discussion in the chat, that person cannot see what has pre-occurred.
Oh, that's good to know. So if you want to like gossip about someone before they arrive, the time to do it before they arrive.
Yeah, but once it's done, the chat is not available to us anymore, is it?
Yes.
But how is it available to them, Terry Lynn?
Oh, it comes with the recording.
Really? Okay, I didn't notice
As
that.
default, or did you have to set it up that way? Because I don't remember getting any sort of
Do you record on Zoom or do you record on your computer?
on Zoom.
It should come with it. You get the video file, the audio file, and the chat when it comes down in when you download it from.
Yeah, but when we get it, we can't open up the chat to see whatever information you put on there.
I think they have to. I think I'll double check. That's a good learning for me. But I think you have to set it up. You may have to set it up that there's like 3 different ways to set up a recording.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is the host or co-host can save the file before you shut down the session. So I can actually save it and then email it out. And the way the chat comes across is funny. It's in a text form and not in a HTML form or something. But you still get the information.
By the way, I think that feedback may be coming from you, Miss Colleen, because I've noticed when you're turning on and off your mute, it gets better and worse. So that's just, I mean, it's not terribly bothersome right now, but just as an FYI.
Yeah, I turned on original sound and that cut off the buzzing, at least to me.
Okay. Is there anything specific? Are you all drawing? You're all painting now, right? I can see you all working. I think you are. No? Most people?
I think Amanda's been painting since we started. Before we started.
Is there anything specific you'd like me to show, like in brush strokes or the wet on wet or anything?
I'd like to see how you do hair again when you were using I mean, when I tried to do the hair the way you said it, even though it was dry, it blobbed. So I'd like to see how you do hair again, because we're all doing animals.
If it blobbed, it wasn't dry,
Yeah, I guess.
because grab a sheet of paper here. I wanted to say too, the paper you use makes a huge difference. I think most of you are using the Canson watercolor paper, which I recommended because it's good quality for a good price. This is some Arch paper that I have on hand. And this is my Winsor Newton Arch as well, but it's a different texture. You can see that this one, they're each a little, well, you can't see very well. I apologize. See if I can get it so it's showing its texture. Anyway, smoother, and they have different finishes on them. And play around. There is some of the art supply web sites, and I think Cheap Joe's, I think you can order, is a sampling of a variety of papers, and you try them out. They give you small samples, and you can see which one works best for what you want to work with. So if your painting is dry and you're going to add in those dry brush textures, I still dampen the brush. You can see I use this sponge to take out most of the water, but it's still damp as opposed to this one that's totally dry. Let's have my paper towel on hand too. And then if I want to do hair, I can splay the hairs of the brush. I just kind of squish them and they splay out. And then I can pick up some paint that I've already pre-mixed. Check that splay again. I want it nice and textured. And then whatever area you're drawing from, think of the direction of the growth of the hair. That wasn't enough paint. All right. I'm picking up more paint here. Mixing colors is always better than just straight color too, just a slight mix. All right, so I have that. And if the hair is going out this way, then I just move the brush to do the hair. And that's dry brush, definitely. And then if you come in and you want more over the top, remember how you have your little scrap of paper off to the side if you want to check it before you put it on your beautiful painting? That's too wet. Put a little more on the tips. Excuse me. So what I'm doing is I start in one spot, I kind of push down a little bit, and then I lift up so I'm doing this sweeping motion. I'm sweeping up, up, up to get the textures. If you're going to get a fuzzy dog and you want like Donna's puppy, go ahead and see how you can just play with the brush. Just push it around, mush it around, drop in some darker color where the shadow might be. Nothing really specific here. I mean, you already have your drawing in there. You can dry out your brush a bit, splay it again. I'm going to give this shorter hair. You can feel when the splays start mushing together. Watch what your brush is doing and work back into it again. I wasn't even thinking, I was just doing strokes, but I think I've got almost a little puppy here. I think I can pull it out. Do you almost see it?
Yeah,
I'm
I can see the
gonna-
nose.
Taking my paper towel, I'm going to blot over in that area. See, it doesn't lift all the paint, but it lifts some. I get a nice clean paper towel finger again. Right there where the nose would be. Look at that, I got a little puppy going. I wasn't even trying. on the nose, and I'm not going to touch the eyes because I need that dry. Even if it's cool to the touch, it's going to be damp. And if you try to do a sharp stroke over a dampness, it's not going to stay sharp. It's going to bleed out. So that's important, even if it's a little bit.
It almost looks like looking down on him from the table.
Oh, look, I wonder if can I make this part of his body back here? I don't know. Whoop, too much black. Don't want it so black. He was a little purplish toward the back.
You just make it look so easy.
I'm just playing. If you play, it's kind of fun if you just kind of play around with it.
Oh, there he is. Isn't he cute? Little Scotty. Scotty dog.
Little Scotty dog. Let's see, now that's too wet to do any sort of texturing, but I could do some lifting. See how that's getting too dark and I want that to fade in the background. So I'm going to just lift a little of that off with a damp brush, wipe it on my paper towel. Play in and out with it. Whoops, come on, paint. Need more paint. Now, see, even if you were a black dog, the fact that I've added in a little bit of that alizarin crimson, that purpley pink, it just kind of makes him a little more interesting. When I look back at the nose and it's bleeding, not bleeding nose, you know what I mean. And I think the eyes might be dry enough. Need to add a little touch. The thing with painting is we often take ourselves so seriously, and it's just a little stroke on paper. It's curves, straight lines. It's nothing really you can't do, you know? And you guys are learning that. Sorry, you guys. I taught high school for years, so you can tell that's all, to me, guys is just kind of everybody. Sorry, I should say y'all. That's the Southern term, right? Y'all.
Or y'all, all.
All.
All y'all.
Quick question, totally irrelevant to this. I was on the vaccine list, like number 3,500 or something like that. But I don't think their phone number was in my phone. If they called me, I wouldn't get that right. Do I sign up again? Does anyone know?
I was 600 and I was 6,000 and something.
Had you gone?
Oh yeah, last Wednesday.
Okay.
If you missed the first phone call and the second phone call, they're going to put you down at the end of the list.
Okay. But I need to sign up again or no?
No, I don't think so. I think they just put you at the end of the list.
Thank you.
I'd sign up again and maybe you'll get a better number.
I'd call and tell them what happened, and they may say,
Yeah.
"Hey, you got extras, come in today."
Yeah, I would too. Yeah.
Also heard some people are signing up with multiple places, and that seems to be increasing their chances of getting it faster.
Right, but then
Yeah.
they don't call the other places and say, oh, by the way, I got it. And that slows down other people. getting
Well,
it.
that is true. So it just depends on how altruistic you want to be.
And they canceled them last Thursday because of the weather.
The weather, yeah.
And so my neighbor across the street, who was scheduled for last Thursday, number 7,000 something, was told to come in today
Oh,
at 3:20.
3:20. Yeah, I might have, because I thought they might email me or something and they didn't.
Just 2 phone calls.
No, if you have to put your that number in your phone.
Yeah, and that's what I messed up doing.
Yeah, you're kind of screwed.
But I'm screwed. Thanks. Now I have a procedure coming up on Thursday, so I'm not going to mess with it until after that. I have no idea. I tried to tie in that fur, but it's not really working.
I have to say though, it definitely looks like a dog. It looks like, but it does kind of look like his behind is exploding a little bit to me.
Well, maybe he just had a bath and he's shaking it.
And then I
Oh,
was
that's
doing
true,
the wet on
Colleen.
wet, and I just kind of tried to tie him together, and it didn't tie it together anymore. So I put a little shadow under him, so he's sitting down.
But you
He
could
looks
call,
like a Toto dog.
Yeah, doesn't he?
what's that?
Toto. He looks like a Toto dog from Dorothy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, from Wizard of Oz.
Amanda, I was just about to ask Terry Lynn about when you got your paper really, really wet and it puffed up, did that go back down again?
It did some, but then I had to put it in a book to like flatten it back out after it like was dry.
Okay, so that might be a cautionary tale for some people.
What
That-
size is it, Amanda?
I don't know if it was like I think it might be the quality of the paper, not necessarily, because the same thing happened in Mouse's picture, but it went back flat and it didn't warp at all. This is actually warped and I've had to like, I wish I had duct tape, honestly.
Interesting.
I think
To
that
tape
was
it down.
supposed to be the benefit of using the arches ones or the black ones, is
Well,
that they don't buckle.
if you have 140 weight paper or below, it will buckle almost no matter what you do, unless you tape it down. And that's why when I've done mine before, I've taped it right to the table. It will not, it's still going to bulge a little bit because now there's moisture between the paper fibers. And then as it dries out, you keep it taped down until it's dry. It should flatten back out.
I did that and it didn't.
It did not. This
That's why I had to put it in a book. But this paper,
this one
like
comes
I picked it up from Hobby Lobby and I tried it on this one and it's like, okay, so don't use the Hobby Lobby watercolor paper because the one that Mouse is on is the what you recommended.
Okay.
So
Yeah, a lot. Again, the paper can make a huge difference. Didn't somebody do a sketch on drawing paper?
I did.
I saw that this week, right? Whose I did?
That cute little guy
Uh,
left.
no, I just did mine on computer paper.
Oh, that's right, Donna. You did it on computer paper, and it bubbled a lot, right? It just
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
it's not made for that. The
No.
best thing if you don't want it to wrinkle at all is a 300-pound paper. Now,
oh God.
a little, yeah, it's expensive, but
Mhm.
what the weight of the paper means, you have 90-pound, 140-pound, and 300-pound for watercolor paper. That is if you have a ream of paper, which is, oh my gosh, I'm pretty sure it's 200 sheets of a full-size sheet of paper. That's a ream. If you have 200 sheets of the 90-pound paper, it's going to weigh 90 pounds. If you have the 140, it's 140. So you can see as the number goes up, the paper gets thicker and firmer. And I'll tell you what, working with a 300-pound paper is nice. You don't have to stretch it. You just paint right on it. And it's wondrous, but it is slightly expensive. Most watercolor paper like this one, a little heavier than cardstock, that's 140 pound. I can't believe he turned into a dog. Anything else I can, I know what I can do. If you're painting white, you're gonna paint some white fur. I'm laying down some color, just water.
I am.
Okay. I'm just throwing in some water. Oops, not that one. And I'm going to use black. But you can keep painting because then you can look at the result of this when I'm done. Notice how I'm holding my brush way up at the end so it's nice and loose, my brush strokes. I'm not holding it like pencil like this. I'm holding it like a brush. And it helps loosen your strokes. What I want to do now is I want to blend that a little bit more. So I keep, you notice I keep cleaning the brush in between because I'm going from the white down into the gray. And now I'm getting those nice bleeds going up in. So that's with black. Did anyone accidentally stick their watercolor brush in a coffee or tea this week? No? Good. Yay. Now I'm using some blue and a little bit brown.
I just did that now while we were talking earlier. Brush in the coffee.
Was it tasty?
I noticed it right away after I dunked it in.
Oh, okay.
I was trying to wash the brush and put it in the wrong thing.
Yeah, don't drink it after. You should be okay. It's a small amount. But if you have high quality paints, you have to remember that like your cobalt, your cadmiums, those are heavy metals. And you don't want to ingest those. Like you remember that people used to tip their brushes with their mouths or something. Was it Renoir that did that? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Renoir. He would tip it and he ended up having so bad arthritis that he was all bent up and they had to tie the brushes to his arm for him to paint later in his life.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, yeah.
What's dedication?
Oh yeah, yeah. So I have a pastel friend that she's got some bad arthritis, and I almost, I'm wondering if that were the situation with her too, but I don't know. Anyone seen the movie about the girls that used to paint the radium dial, the radium girls?
No.
Mm-mm.
I saw that advertised on Netflix. Is it good?
Yeah, it's basically true that happened. They were painting watch dials and things with radium paint, and they were told to tip the brush to a fine point in their mouths, and all that radium was going. And if you got an award, if you get the best or the most amount of dials done in a certain amount of time, you got an award, which was a radium drink. And they got cancer. And then they would say, oh no, she was dismissed because she got pregnant. Oh no, she had syphilis. We dismissed her because she had syphilis, and they're all dying of cancer.
Wait, don't tell us how it ends in
Nope.
case we want to go see it. I mean, it's true life, so if we knew the story, I guess we'd know how it ends, but I
You
don't.
just have to be cautious about certain things. I have an air purifier for my pastels because if I tap them, the dust goes in the air. And you just don't want to be breathing that all the time. It's just a small air purifier, but it's nice to have. All right. Why am I not getting good light on this?
We can see it.
That's pretty good. So this is nice. This is with black, just black. This, it's not as dark, but this is blue and burnt sienna, which is a blue and that bricky brown. And it's a more interesting dark than just the black dark.
Yeah.
Color is always more interesting, in my opinion. And in most artists' opinions. All right, my paper towel has had it. I need another paper towel. My friend going like, wow, because I'll save all my paper goods to start the bonfire, not the bonfire, the fire pit outside. Says, why are you wasting so much paper? It's like, I'm not wasting it, I'm using it.
Recycle.
We go through a lot of paper.
Well, now paper towels can't be recycled, but they can be burned, I guess.
Right, I mean, I need stuff to start a fire. Sometimes it comes out pretty. You could, have an abstract painting. But paper towel is not acid-free paper, so it's not going to stand the test of time. It is not archival. How is everyone doing? I'm here, it's so quiet. Trying to think of things. We are at 2:31. We have an hour, Pam, is that correct?
That is correct. Although, like I said, I would like to stop a little bit early and just get some feedback on ways to improve or anything else that people want to tell us.
So we have about 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've drawn joined a couple of drawing classes. One is just portraits, like we draw each other portraits, and you can see that on my Facebook. And the other one is nude models, which I haven't done for about 10 years because it's tricky to find a group that's has good models. Around here, I've only had clothed models for a long time. And it's been about 10 years, yeah. Anyway, this gentleman, this artist from Taipei, he hires yoga people that can hold unusual poses for a long time. And it makes some of the most interesting drawing. And of course, you're not allowed to take any screenshots or anything. But I did it last week. It was really fun.
Carrie Lynn, what happened to that group that you were attending? I thought you were attending a couple of years ago. We were talking about possibly doing something in the studio, trying to figure out if we could figure that out. But there's another group.
Yeah, that was one of the local plein air groups, and once a month we would hire a model together. But she was
Yes.
the model. Yeah, I haven't had a nude model since I was in Portland, Maine.
Gotcha.
And that was through the university. But it makes a difference. It's like if you could see the structure of these animals, you'd have to take all their fur off, and you could see where the bones come out and where the muscles are and the form. And that's vital to understanding all underneath our painting, not just drawing, but also understanding that form. And with a person, clothes really get in the way. It cuts, like where my neckline is this is not a natural line of the body. So it doesn't help reveal the form of the figure when they have clothes on. It also, understanding what's underneath helps you to know how the folds are, how the cloth falls. It's not just lines here or lines here. It has to come off this shoulder, and there's a reason why this line is coming around this way, so all of that really is fascinating. I like your mask, Amanda. That's pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Amanda has a mask for, I think, every day.
I
A
do.
different mask. I don't know how many Amanda has now. I'm guessing, Amanda, you must have at least 100 masks.
Maybe, probably not 100, but definitely a lot.
A lot. They're a fashion accessory.
Well, they are now. I don't understand why people get bent out of shape when there's so many fun ones to choose from. I got one that says air hugs the other day.
Oh, nice.
So it's like, okay, I mean, I'm having fun with it. If I have to wear it, then I don't want to be like boring and wear whatever. Medical masks aren't fun. I'm going to have fun if I'm required to do something.
Whatever it takes, right? I think that's awesome that you found a way to make it fun for you.
Yep. I mean, I wasn't really opposed to it to begin with, honestly. I mean, I wasn't here, but that was because I was in my little corner. Now it's just kind of like, I'm okay with it now that I have fun things to wear.
Is anyone at a point where they want to share anything, by the way?
Do you have anything?
I am.
Oh, good. Thank you, Gabe, because how's your little board back here? I'm ready. I need to spotlight someone. Oh,
Oh, you're doing that pup. Beautiful.
Lucky.
Did you do that all just now, Gabe?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Beautiful.
See, sometimes by working fast, we relax more. And then when he's drier, or she, sorry, you can come back in with just a few little details. Very nice.
Yay, could you hold it up again? I want to take a picture. Oh, it doesn't matter. No, I can get it off the recording. It's okay, honey. I can get it off the recording. Thank you. It's actually probably clearer to get it off.
Okay, is there any way you could take a picture and throw that up on the Padlet?
Right now?
Can you do that now, or are you busy painting? Go ahead.
Yeah, I can.
Anybody else want to show anything you guys are working on? You don't have to, but. I just have to assume that Donna L is painting because all I see is the back of her computer. As far as I know, she could be creating a novel over there and we wouldn't know.
No, I'm painting.
Okay, I'm just teasing you, Donna. If you wanted to create a novel while you were doing painting, that would be fine too.
It's great to do those quick washes fast and fluid and wet washes. And then with watercolor to add on those details, you really need to wait for it to dry. And I think Colleen's taking the dog downstairs, but I think that was what her situation was. She was ready to add in some nice fine details of hair, but the painting had not totally dried. So she got that soft bleed. All in the timing. That's one of the reasons why, as Donna was asking, I think watercolor is trickiest because there's a lot more about the timing for painting with watercolor. Acrylic and oil and even pastel, you don't have to worry about, is it dry? Is it partially dry? Is it really wet? I mean, in watercolor adds whole other layers of this water aspect, and you need to play with it. If we try to totally control it, we're going to get a stiff painting, in my opinion. So sometimes just let it kind of do what it wants. Take a step back, watch it, make sure it doesn't puddle. But and if it does start to puddle, you just get your paper towel and gently work it. Just not too much, always gently, and then you can go back into it after you let it do its thing. What's I gonna do here? Idea.
I was gonna say, Terry, then you ought to start a painting so that there's
Oh, for the people that aren't here, that's true.
yeah, or just so we can watch you. I mean, every time we watch you paint, I think it's a great learning. Just watching.
See here, I'm just barely, I've splayed my brush. I've barely touched some fairly dry paint. You can tell it's fairly dry because it's leaving lines in the paint. And then that will be good for, should be good for adding in some detail. Now I can see it's a little too dry. Try spraying it. All right, the painting, eh? I will be right back. In a drawing group the other day and I had to turn my camera around or something and it ended up showing them my bathroom.
Yeah.
Was it clean at least?
Yes, it was.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's good.
I have to keep things organized and clean, but it was just like, oh, that's my bathroom. The one that's right here. So. All right, let's see if I can get this guy. I'm considering the little pug here.
Oh, I love puggies.
I know. The poor.
I have a pug Frenchie mix.
Aw.
Yeah. She looks just like a pug, but her ears stick straight up like a Frenchie's. She's hysterical.
Cute. Cute. They're just the poor things though, they're so overbred that they have trouble breathing, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna measure about as high as it is wide. I'm going to do this part really lightly, which will drive Pam crazy. Center.
Yeah.
Angles. I'm just thinking shapes. All I'm doing is thinking simple shapes. Where do the eyes go? The eyes are going to go right about here. really far apart eyes, as opposed to some that are close together. In the human face, the eyes are about one eye distance apart. You could fit one more eye in between your eyes. There's a whole basic proportion to the face when you're drawing it. That's something I could teach too. That would be like if we did another drawing thing. Did we do faces? Nobody, do you remember, Pam, if we did faces? I don't think we got.
I don't think we did human faces. We did animals.
Did get to animals.
Yeah, we started with the cat and a dog, I believe. And I was amazing how much people's cats and dogs actually look like them after the first class. even mine.
It's like if you did basic shapes again, it's all about those basic shapes. People get, oh, I can't draw a face. Well, don't draw a face. Just draw a straight line. Draw a curve.
I've been thinking about that idea of breaking things down in terms of all kinds of art, but just, kind of how you teach a beginning art class for anything, right? You try to break it down into simple steps and whatnot. But really there's nothing that really couldn't be obtainable for everybody, at least to some extent.
Exactly.
If you break it down.
And I've been teaching adult ed. Adult ed was the first art classes I started teaching because my kids were little, and I thought, well, this way, I can go out and teach when my dad isn't home. And I only found one person in my decades of. If the guy had asked me, I probably would have said, yeah, he just couldn't retain to the next concept that I had.
Oh, someone's got some kind of something going on noise-wise. I don't know. It sounds to me like they're trying to get out chiclets or something out of a.
Somebody's tapping their watercolor brush in the.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, sorry. That's legit.
But everybody can do stuff. It's just they look at artists doing it, and because over the years you start doing so much of it in your head that they don't see all of those, just the lines, just the shapes, just the everything. And if you can get them back to that, they go like, oh yeah, I can do this.
So, but this one gentleman you ran into really had zero talent?
I would teach one concept, and then the next week I would build on top of that concept, and he had trouble retaining. I don't know if he had some Alzheimer's or what.
Yeah, maybe he had some sort of a retention issue, just in general.
So I had to, but he loved what he was doing, so I never told him.
Oh, well, there you go.
Right? He loved it, and I was like, okay, if he's happy, why would I say, sorry, man, you can't. I had one person, I would draw hands. I get to a certain point. This was 10-week class, and I'd have them draw their hand. And I'm like, now you set your hand down, you look at it, and I break it down into basic shapes again. And this one person's having so much trouble. I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'd go over and, well, what is going on? And he's like, well, I look at my hand and then I try to draw it. And I'm like, I said, I'm right-handed. I'm looking at my left hand.
Right, exactly.
He's looking at his left hand and trying to draw his left hand from memory.
That's like an art joke. I mean, that's a really good art joke.
So I very learned on that one.
When I was a kid in school and had a hard time paying attention, as I still do, I'm very distractible. I would look at my hand on my desk and draw my left hand with my right hand.
Yeah.
And then move it to a different position. And the teachers thought that I was busy taking notes, but I was really trying to draw my hand.
You were one of those kids, huh, Colleen?
Yeah, that's why I ended up becoming a teacher, I think.
Yeah. So
they say if you drive your teachers crazy when you're a kid, you'll grow up to be a teacher.
Yeah, there's the people with a little ADD where you're like, yeah, okay, I can do 10 things at once, no worries.
That's right.
I I kind of wet his whole area around the drawing, except his eyes. I want his eyes to stay dry. And I'm just picking up the lightest kind of warm color I have on my palette, which is kind of somewhere in this ochre, burnt sienna kind of idea. And I'm just going to kind of lay in a wet wash in the highlighting areas of his face.
You know, that brings up a question. Do you place your paints? Are you consciously or intentionally placing your paints certain places on your palette?
Yes. I don't know if you can see them.
Yeah, we can see them. Yeah, that's good.
All right. So I do start with my yellows because this is the yellow. My lemon yellow is the one that can get messed up the easiest. So it's kind of over there by itself. Lemon yellow, cad yellow, yellow ochre. Cadmium red. This is alizarin crimson. I do have some sort of purple lake or something in there. These are my earth tones. This is my burnt sienna and my raw umber. That's the dark, dark brown. Ultramarine blue, cobalt blue, and cerulean blue. I do have some black here, which I try not to use too much. And I do have this kind of spring green here. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Okay, I put my phone on do not disturb.
And someone's calling you anyway.
That's right, it still came through.
That actually wasn't my question, Terry Lynn, although thank you for that reminder, how you placed them on that. What I meant, and I didn't say it properly, is the area in the middle of your palette thing. It look where you have all, where you put a little blob of this, a little blob of that. That seems to be, that seems to be intentionally placed as well. So
Right, it's related to the colors near it. I'm not sure why the blue, there's a, whoops.
Oh, that's all it is. Okay.
The blue there. And I pull it down this way, and then this becomes my mixing area. The nice thing about this palette, it's a Tom Lynch palette, that the cover that goes over this when it's dry is just a big, large mixing area. So I have 2 mixing areas with this palette.
Gotcha.
I
Okay.
don't usually need that. Now this looks messed up. I don't know what happened.
So obviously, if you can place those little colors where you want, each of those little squares comes individually on your palette.
These?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're little troughs.
I've just never seen them sold that way.
Oh, they don't come like this, no. These,
How do they come?
these paints come.
Are those liquid watercolors or are they like cakes that have just gotten
No,
smushed over time?
I'm trying to get through here. These are, I'm coming back.
Good. I'm glad you didn't run off on us, because then I'd have to teach the rest of the class, and I don't think anyone wants that.
No.
It's so funny.
I'm all about brute honesty.
I appreciate that.
2 watercolors, and I'll take
Yeah,
the
just anywhere.
put it
Oh.
into the trough that it belongs in.
Do you prefer those over the cakes?
I have these because I used to do a lot of watercolor. And I like the cakes for my little travel kit. For this one, I like those. Why did, Pam, does the proportion seem different since that?
Yeah, I think it's close. Maybe it's closer because
No.
your left side is cut off a little bit. So I'm wondering if somehow the
think
camera's closer.
The same. Let me try. Wait, I could bend the gooseneck on this a little bit.
I mean, it's fine. We just can't see the left side of your palette, but that's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, that's not. That was an old friend from Maine that was calling. I have no idea why they were calling me. Uh-oh. It just froze.
Yeah, it might come back. Your face froze also not too long ago, so.
It's unfrozen.
Probably because he's leaving a message. All right, now that this is all dry. So that makes sense. So if you're going to do a lot of watercolor painting, you have a lot, you want a good amount of paint. When you start doing half sheets or about the size of this table for a painting, or full sheets, which is twice that, you need a lot more paint. And a little cake watercolor is just not going to give you enough. So you pull out huge amounts of this.
Earlier, you said that even if the paint in your tube is dry, you can still use it. Well,
Yes.
how do you get it out of the tube then if it's dry?
Right. Like some of my grandmothers that I got, this is years ago, were so dried out that I had to take a utility knife and cut open the tube and kind of scrape the paint out of it. But it was still good to use because watercolor, the purest media in pigment is pastel. There's very, very little binder holding that together, just enough to hold those particles of pigment together. Watercolor uses glycerin, and they used to use honey, but very little as well. So this is quite pure. So when it dries up and the water goes away, basically what you're left with is almost pure pigment. And pure pigment is not going to go bad. If it's a quality pigment, it's not going to fade. People think pastels are not permanent, but they are. If you don't work with them properly, they can kind of fall off the paper, but they are the purest pigment, and they don't, like oil paints and acrylic have other things mixed in with them, and that can affect the way the pigment is working. And oil paint actually eventually, after 20, 30 years, starts cracking surfaces because it never totally dries. But pastel will not do that. Galleries are cautious about pastels. They don't, which is too bad, because again, it is the most.
I have a couple of pictures that my dad did when I was 10 with palette knife, and they're still fine. And it was oil, palette knife and oil paint.
Yep. Did he paint it on canvas or on panel?
On canvas.
Yep. Yeah, it can last quite a lot. And a lot of times it depends on how thick the paint is.
I'm pretty sure it was good too. He had an art store, so he had access to the.
He knew. Yeah, he had the good quality stuff.
It was Winsor Newton, I think.
Hey, Terry Lynn, this is Gay.
Hi, Gay.
Can I show you a pastel I did of another pet?
Oh, sure. Oh, you did a pastel? Nice.
I did. That's Donna.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Beautiful. Oh, I love the
Yeah, I really enjoyed doing it too. What?
Irish Wolfhound?
Oh, pure mutt. Who knows?
Oh, okay.
Wow, it's terrific. I love his eyes and his nose and his
Oh,
little.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought the pastels were pretty easy to use, actually.
Yeah. They're one of those things you can get into quickly, I think.
Hey, can you remind us what your artistic background and involvement is? No, sir, I'm curious. I think you told us maybe a little bit at the beginning, and I have forgotten, but you look like you've done a lot.
I've done a little of a lot. Yeah.
A lot, yes.
Many things. Yeah. Mostly watercolors, but I didn't even start doing that until about 10 years ago.
Oh, until about that's 10 years ago is quite a while.
Yeah, I suppose. But yeah, so.
Yeah.
So was there anyone on this call or on this class, I'm sorry, that actually was brand new to watercolor?
Like me, Pam, that was my next question. Anybody who's absolutely new at this?
Yeah. Linda and Georgia, maybe. They're not here, but.
I'm new, Donna.
Oh, you were brand new, Donna? You never touched a brush?
No, never. Well, like grade school.
Yeah, okay, all right. But that's
That's
actually
it.
good information for us to know because, well, and this would be, I guess, like a question more towards our end thing, is if we geared this to the right level. Since so many of you, everyone sounds like, except for Donna perhaps, who did just beautifully in this class, wanted, more advanced thing. Well, you know what though, also Terry Lynn, I was just thinking.
Yep.
that may be why people have been so successful, even though they started with painting actual animals versus just much more relaxed and loose things from the other intro class.
Because they do have some background.
Exactly. Yeah. Amanda, don't catch your paper on fire. Those things are pretty hot.
I know.
Okay.
I learned that from alcohol inks, actually.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't set any alcohol inks on fire, but it's like, it doesn't look like it on the camera, but it's actually like way back.
Okay. It looked like it was right on top of the paper. Okay.
Oh, no. I never put anything heat wise directly near
Okay.
anything, but yeah, this paper that I did pour little Jack on is, yeah, don't get Hobby Lobby paper. It sucks. It is like so warped. It's ridiculous.
You get what you pay for in that case, huh?
Basically, yeah, just whatever.
Makes you
I
wonder
get-
why they even make it.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm very impressed. Like the sketchbooks I do my Zentangle stuff in, the paper is perfect for that. But this watercolor paper that like I got is just like crap. Okay, I don't know why you're so like having to bend him. Poor little Jack.
Okay, so just so everyone knows, it's the top of the hour, so there's about 30 minutes left, which is plenty of time.
Spray this with some water and add a little texture in there. Now that's not on him, but I think it might just kind of be nice to have a little extra texture in that. All right, I've mixed some dark color here. This is my burnt umber and my ultramarine blue for nice dark. And since this area of his head is the light hairs are that way, I am going to take that darker line, paint behind it, and kind of come into that to leave a negative space area for his, the hair on his face. So by going that way. It'll make it look like the hair on his face is heading out from his head.
Is your paper still damp?
Mine? Yes.
Yeah, I can't tell. Yeah, it does look like the black is spreading a little bit. Okay.
And even with this decent arch paper, oh, you can't see on the photo, but it is buckling some. It's not perfectly flat anymore. See how it's bowing out a little bit?
Yep.
You can't really avoid that. What we used to do with full sheets of paper, see that was way too wet, but I'm just gonna add a little something there. When you do a large sheet of paper, I think I mentioned this once, we used to soak the rag paper in the bathtub because that's the only place it would fit. And then we would put it on either particle board or plywood that had been gessoed so that acid from the wood is not coming through into your paper. And we would tape it down with a gum tape, like the kind you had to wet and gum down. And then we would staple it with a staple gun all around the edges. And as it shrank, it's cloth. So it would shrink like old-fashioned cotton. And it would just tighten up like a drum and stay flat. And then when you went into to paint on it, it had already shrunk, so it wasn't going to buckle as much and upset your painting.
Huh. Interesting.
It can be very complex. All right, now this guy at this point, I've got some, I just want to add a lot of his little bits of hair and try to follow it on his face.
And by the way, just like Gay did, if anyone has anything they want us to see or they want
Yes,
to see us, I mean, mostly Carrie, so she can you
Well,
guide.
you told me to do a demo, so that's why I'm painting
Yeah,
this.
no, it's great, but just reminding everyone that Terry Lynn is there for you if you have questions or anything? I found an interesting quote from a guy that was interviewed in the Asheville Made magazine back in December and January. I saved it and underlined it. And he was asked about the process versus the result of making art. And he said it, and he was asked, is the process equally as important as the result? And the process is the goal. Otherwise, if you don't enjoy the process, if you aren't interested in the making, why go through it? You could just buy art.
Yes.
I thought was really an interesting comment on process.
The process is the important part. It's the fun part. It's once the artist has done the painting, you're done. This is what the fun part is.
Well, and not just even just fun, but I think he's saying this is the meaningful part. This is the part that matters.
Yes. I mean, I have hundreds of paintings over there that, you know, I'm like, whoa, what can I do with it? I can't frame them all. I can't sell them all. What am I going to do? Well, it was the process, the learning experience that you do where you go through every single one. We're always learning something new and always experimenting.
I have a question to ask. Now, after you finish that dog, if you wanted to put something in the background, what I found difficult was, even though the top of the head was dry, to try to get the background up next to the dog, it kind of ran.
It can, yes. And like here, I kind of did the splaying of the brush. I did this really quickly, but with the green, and I tried to kind of come in between a few of those spots. This was kind of nice because it looks like he has a white tip on his tail. And over here too, if I had gone really close, see here I went close and it pulled some of that black, where here I left some space and it's not doing that. So you have to think about kind of like what I was doing with this part of the ear. You have to think the opposite direction, negatively.
Yeah.
So you'd come in with a splayed and keep thinking about the hair and the texture.
Okay.
Am I being clear in my explanation?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Donna, are you done with your thing? Are you just enjoying watching Terry Lynn do her thing?
Mhm. Well, I'm waiting for my light to dry so I can go back in and do some dark.
Ah, gotcha. It's fun to watch her though, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yep.
Poor sponges. Pretty messy here. A lot of the changes in him are so subtle that I want to proceed, you know, kind of slowly, not too fast. It's interesting. I must always have a paper towel in my left hand. My other hand. When I'm doing pastels, I always have a rag in that hand because as you touch the pastel to the surface, it picks up other colors and you want to clean it off. So having our full bodies kind of involved in the whole process. And I do not understand how people can sit down and paint. But that could be partially my training too, my academic training.
Can you tell us more about that actually, Terry Lynn, in terms of
Oh, sorry.
that standing?
You can step back and look at it a little more objectively. If I'm on an easel and you're working so close, you get so involved in the details that I will like look at it. I'll turn around, try to forget what I'm looking at, and I'll walk away about 8 or 10 feet and turn around and look at it with a fresh eye. And it helps me to see it again more objectively. I have to move too. I mean, Colleen was talking about moving around. I never sat down as a teacher at the desk. You know how some teachers sit at the front of the room, right? Colleen's like, nope. I was always, my desk was at the back of the room and I was moving in and out constant.
You got to keep an eye on the kids that way. One of my teachers said you should even put it upside down so that your mind is away from what the subject is.
Yeah, you can do that, definitely.
Yeah. And it kind
Especially
of
if you have a complex thing, then you start looking at the shapes and the darks and the lights instead of all the details.
That's a great hint. Yeah.
I did a painting of my dad a while back and I found myself just too close to the subject matter, too involved in it. So I did exactly that. I took the picture upside down and I turned the painting upside down so I could be more objective about it.
Very interesting. Great thought.
No.
There's tricks to do, and it's not just in painting. There's oblique strategy. If you like to watch TED Talks, the guy that talks about oblique strategies, and these are things that you do on purpose to get you out of your comfort zone. So you can reach in and open other aspects of your creativity or your spirit or whatever else is involved in what you're doing.
Well, I was just wondering if I'm writing that down, by the way, even though it's recorded, but
I'll tell you, I've got it written down.
You had mentioned
Brian Eno, E-N-O, Brian Eno.
No. You had mentioned that, get your whole body involved, which, we were meant to stand. We were not meant to sit, right? We've all read lots of stuff about that. And I wonder if by standing, just like singing and stuff, it kind of releases your diaphragm and all of that stuff. Would contribute to your hand motion, your, just, I don't know.
Keeps us younger, keeps us more active. It helps because you're moving around more. The blood circulation, which is going to get your brain to work better.
Yeah. And I'm seeing everyone else is sitting, I think.
Since we're talking dogs, animals rather, can I show you? Oh, I don't know how to do that. I thought I had it. Turn there.
Oh, cute. Nice. Did you do that?
No, that's the one my dad did. But that's just kind of an idea of putting that rear end kind of off in the nothingness,
You can tell he was like looking down a little bit on the dog and it was on the ground. But that kind of fades back and there's more contrast, more color, more detail all in the front.
Right. Yeah. And that was with palette knife.
Yeah. Very nice.
Nothing like show and tell your dad's stuff. I wish I inherited more of his ability, though.
Donna, since I'm sorry, are you talking to someone? I just wanted to know if you wanted to show us what you had done so far since you're done. Sure. Oh, there's two Donnas. Okay, well, I'm looking at Donna M, but Donna L. Also, I'm happy to look at your stuff too. Either one.
Let me know. Oh, okay.
There you go.
Nice. Oh. That Donna, that's because I remember before we did the sketches. Yep. What was it? Week 2 or something? You did a picture of the cat.
I think so.
Yeah.
I'm working on learning how to make it look like fur. So splaying my brush.
Yep. Splaying your brush work.
Yeah.
This brush is kind of already pre-splayed. I keep forgetting to use that. The trick with this one is like this guy has short hair, so I've got to keep little tiny strokes with it.
Donna, do you have your first effort as well? It'd be interesting to compare them side by side.
Somewhere. Sorry, this is also my table to learn German and all my other things. That was the old one. His
Yeah.
ear was way too large.
Okay, now
And
hold
all
them
the
both.
colors were wrong.
Yeah, let's hold it. Can you hold them together at the same time?
Sure.
I remembered that one. I see. A
Oh my gosh,
Oh
Oh,
my.
yeah.
look at the difference. That's amazing.
Thanks, you guys.
It's a
I feel
beautiful-
pretty good about this first effort.
Yeah, the way you captured his, I mean, 'cause he's got such a unique, I mean, all animals have a unique personality, but he has a very specific look to his face and his eyes and his
He's got an attitude. Pam.
attitude. You have got that.
He's the top guy in the neighborhood and he's Sid Vicious.
Yeah, you really, you got it.
Well, thank you. Yeah. Yep.
Other Donna, did you want to show us your thing? Sure. Oh,
Oh, nice.
Look at that.
Oh, the face is so sensitive. That is so nice.
so sweet. Is this a sweet dog? Is this particular dog really sweet, Donna?
Yes, this dog Winnie is about 10 weeks old.
Oh, it's a baby.
It's a
Oh,
baby.
the
Oh
baby.
my goodness.
What do you
Is he
think?
there? Is it a she?
She's my nephew's dog, yeah. A lot of new puppies in the family.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe she was there right now and you could show us her. What a sweet cat. You did a beautiful job,
That
Kat.
is really nice. I love the colors too. The variety of colors you've used keeps it interesting.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. Anyone else want to show us? We still have 15 minutes if you're working on something, but we'd love
Don't
to-
forget time for feedback.
Yeah, I mean, we can certainly, you can, as Terry Lynn,
Yeah.
are you able to listen as you paint?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, does anyone have any specific or general feedback? I have a few questions, but I would be happy to just take random thoughts about things that you perhaps wish we could have done a little bit better or could have included. I'm also curious about, we made this 4 sessions. Would you have felt complete at 3 sessions? That was something we thought about.
I think for me as a beginner, I mean, a real beginner with a capital B, that 6 sessions would have been better because I feel like the first couple of sessions would have been brush technique and how do you know how to get colors out of your palette? Because you're always mixing colors and I didn't really know where to start with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I could have been down for 6 weeks and charge a little more.
And you would have been being charged a little more. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always.
We're trying to do stuff really quickly, and my initial was just like the yellow ochre, the burnt umber, and some black, but now because of the level of the people in the class too and the interest, that's when I start throwing in other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad you did.
That's great feedback, Donna. In fact, I think Terry Lynn, when we did the other beginner class, so it wasn't focused on animals, it was just the beginner watercolor. We did more with brush technique and I think people actually created a color chart with their paints, I think on the first week.
And mixing, we worked a lot on mixing and we did go through each like wash, blended wash, wet on wet, all the different types of
Yeah,
wash.
so it sounds like what you're suggesting, Donna, is if we were to do a paint your pet thing, tack on a couple extra weeks in the beginning to really be able to give you more of a foundation or
Yeah.
before you
Yeah,
jump.
I mean, it was advertised beginner and I think I'm actually the only beginner. And that
Yeah.
was fine, but I needed a little bit more hand holding, I think, just as far as what am I doing with this brush and
Sure.
how do I get that color from these colors?
Absolutely. That's wonderful feedback. Thank you. And thank you for hanging in there, because as Terry Lynn sort of tries to accommodate the fact that most people weren't, even though it was called a beginner.
Right. It's
Or-
okay. It was great to
Yeah.
see everybody's work.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Any other feedback, either from Donna M or other folks?
I'd like to jump in there because even as not a beginner, but where it's been quite a while, I would have liked exactly what you just described. I was going to say, before I heard Donna talk, I was going to say, we spent the first 2 weeks kind of doing some of that initial stuff. But then, like, I could have really used, if I had been able to paint today with the idea that we would still have one more week. So
Uh-huh.
I was even in favor of 5 weeks, even for me as a non-beginner.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. 5 or 6 weeks again, tack on a little bit more in the beginning of some really basic stuff again. Okay, that's wonderful
As
feedback.
a review, yeah.
Sure, sure. Other thoughts? Donna L, looks like you're about to talk.
Yes, I feel the same way. I see myself as a beginner, and so it could have gone on longer for me. Although having it 4 weeks kind of got me to do it. So it's hard to, now that we're rolling, a few more
Yeah.
weeks.
Okay, great. So it does sound like there's sort of a little bit of a consensus. Gay and Amanda, do you feel similarly to Donna, the Donnas and Colleen?
Yeah, I would have liked, personally, I would have liked more on the the color blending
Uh-huh.
mainly, and stuff also more on brushes, because the brushes I've seen you guys use, I hate them.
Uh-huh.
I absolutely hate them. Because it's not the control part. I mean, there is like a controlling kind of thing because I'm weird, but I've played with alcohol inks, so I'm okay with it being fluid and everything. It's just kind of like I hated those brushes because literally no matter what I did, I could not get anything like I wanted. So I went out and got these kind of brushes that they spring to a tip and everything. Whereas these guys, this is what this stayed like.
Yeah, that
This and I got, and like I did not get this from Hobby Lobby. I got it like from like Michael's or whatever. I don't,
yeah.
it just,
That's why the one that Pam we had put on, and I'm looking for it on Amazon, like these.
yeah.
These are better. That's not wet right now. But yeah, those other bamboo brushes are just, and I think I
Yeah,
said bamboo, and I apologize. I'll
yeah, I think that's what it was. And it's like, okay, I went out and I got bamboo brushes, and
yeah, those
oh
are.
gosh, if I almost really just want to throw them in the trash, or I might
Yeah.
just put them in the community thing over here, because I will not use them.
So
Amanda,
more
this is what-
specificity initially with what kind of brushes to get.
Yeah, I would have liked more like brush stuff, and then like I never really could get the wash technique truly down. I mean, I pick up on things really fast, but this right here was just kind of like, I would have liked also more color blending, because I would have liked to know exactly what ratios or like specifics, because I'm just like playing around, and then it's like I've had to take a paper towel and just wipe it back because it turns into mud.
So so in the beginning, some more concentrated focus.
More
on using-
concentrated focus, and
Yeah,
at
even for-
4 weeks was good for me, but 5 weeks, I would have been good with 5 weeks. No longer than 5 though for me, because then I would have been, my ADD would have gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a balance too between okay, how fast do they want to get into painting their own stuff? How
Yeah.
and Amanda, this brush, I mean, I still have this brush, and I use this for different things,
Yeah.
And you can see the blue tape on it, so I know I'm not painting with this, but I will use this for, like, if I want to do grass textures and I don't want to ruin a nice brush, you can get textures. I also use these when I'm putting on my resist,
Okay.
So you're saying don't throw it out yet.
Well, it's up to her.
For it.
Oh, no. The ones I don't like will go in the community place. Somebody else can play with them. I refuse.
Okay. Okay.
Because literally I feel like a Q-tip would do better. There's your comparison.
Okay. And Gay, did you have any additional, thank you, Amanda. Were you complete with your feedback, or do you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, but I'll, whenever we get to sharing things, I'll share my little thing that I have here.
Okay, and we'll be there in just a minute because it's actually
Neat.
3:22. So
If anybody could, yeah, we're almost time, right? If you could get it on Padlet, is it too quick to try to get it up on the Padlet?
Oh, I can get it there, I
Because we can
think.
just zoom in on those better than holding them up to the camera.
Yeah.
I want Terry Lynn to know, though, that none of our comments are being critical at all of what she's done. I think she's
Oh,
done a
no.
terrific
Well,
job.
thank you. But
And I would take another class. In fact, if you do landscaping or something, I'm on.
that's great. Yeah, I mean, and as you know, Colleen, as
Me
an
too.
I don't think any of us take this personally. We're trying to learn. You can always improve the classes, right? And
Yeah.
I think
I just wanted Terry to be sure that she knew that.
Oh, yeah. I've done this long enough, but thank you so much.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
I really enjoyed this. And the reason I jumped on the chance to do this was because it was pets. I don't want to learn like landscapes, because to me, it's like, I've done landscapes with alcohol inks, so it's like I would just apply it that way. So, but
Yeah, I jumped on because it was pets too.
pets, yeah.
But now I'm ready for something else, but I still need a lot more work.
I want to do different kinds of pets. I want to do the abstract thing she showed with the different colors.
Oh,
I want to
yeah.
go outside of my box with that.
I would do landscaping, but I'd also love to be able to do little cards for friends that were flowers,
Oh,
floral or plants.
still life kind of stuff. Yep.
Yeah.
that would be great for like using your Sumi brush and learning some actual Sumi brush strokes.
Yeah.
And then using those with flowers and stuff. Remember when I did that little bird with just this brush by pressing down or lifting up?
Yeah.
And flowers too. And then the colors come in, and
We actually tried to do. We offered a class. Camille was going to teach it. This was about a year ago. A Sumi brush stroke, sort of. I don't know what we called it, but it was going to be specifically with floral kinds of things. And honestly, we did not. I think we maybe got one person to sign up for it.
Oh,
Yeah, which is interesting. So I still appreciate the feedback, but
Mhm.
yeah, it's interesting what people will actually end up registering for.
I remember reading that one and thinking about it, but I felt that it was too hard for me to do. But I mean, like when Terry Lynn introduced a little bit of it, like she just referred to,
Yeah.
that made me realize that, I mean, when I think of Sumi, I think of when I see them over in China doing that,
Yeah.
And so I thought, I can't do that.
Yeah.
but now you're beginning to see that possibly you can do that.
Yeah. And seeing you show us a little bit of it, it would be all right, with the right teacher and maybe a glass or two of wine, maybe I could do it.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
maybe we could do it when we can be back in.
And we only have 5 minutes left, so I do want to make sure that I check in with Gay, make sure there's nothing feedback wise that Gay wants to contribute before we do.
No, I actually liked the 4 weeks.
Okay.
I recognize that I have done some watercolor before, so that's just me. I probably wouldn't get as much out of the whole blending colors and brush strokes and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, because you're a little more advanced. Was there anything else you wish that Terry Lynn had covered for you, Gay?
No, just how to do my own better.
Well, I think you had a great start. I think it's just a matter of practice.
Probably.
Okay.
Thank you. I really enjoyed the class, by the way. I really did, and I'm very appreciative of it.
Great, thank you. All right, so in our last 5 minutes, Ms. Terry Lynn, I know a few of you guys, have you been successful in putting stuff on Padlet? Yes, okay. Okay, so Terry Lynn, I'm going to turn this over to you to get up on the computer.
All right. Did they land at the top, everyone? Oh, here it is. Yep. Ah, look. It's so cute.
I'm having to alter him because like the left side of his face right there, I accidentally put like a, as soon as I did that, a drop of water went right on it. It went.
Oh, yep.
So I'm having to tweak him so it doesn't look like that anymore.
What did you use for the whiskers?
Oh, I used my jelly roll.
Your jelly roll? Okay.
Yeah.
It's on my
And
shelf.
I used the number like the 05. I use that one because it's the finest tipped one.
Right. Okay.
And you just do it really lightly because the white ones tend to get gunky more than other jelly rolls.
Okay.
So.
Thanks,
Sure do
Amanda.
have the eyes good. Eyes are beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Do you clean it off after you use the jelly roll?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, and I just clean it off. Sometimes I even just roll it with my finger, or I'll take a tissue and like just wet it, but you don't want to like.
Because I can imagine it's going to pick up some of the pigment as it goes across the watercolor here.
Oh yeah, it does. So these do really good on so many different things.
I did something the other day and I was like, I need that pen. And I didn't have it yet.
You could get them at Cheap Joe's or you could get them at Michael's. You could get them at Walmart now.
Her eyes, the eyes, guys, she has almost a double highlight. She has that soft highlight there and then the strong highlight. So there's a three-dimensionality.
Hello, Anne.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
I had to stare at his like picture for quite a bit to be like, okay, do I put that extra highlight in or should I just leave it? And I was like, I'm glad I did the extra.
I like it. It's really, I'm trying to keep track of time. Oh my goodness. Okay. Aw.
Yo.
Look at that little face.
So cute.
That is so nice. See, and you've got that burnt sienna in there, a little blue, so it's not just flat black. And the burnt umber here is nice. It adds some very nice. I hate to rush, but we do have. So you guys can go back and look at these, of course, anytime. Colleen, you didn't. No. Okay. Donna M. No.
It's not finished.
Okay. Nope. Just checking.
Your treats went.
Nice. Look at the variation of colors in here that she did, and it's following like on the muzzle and stuff. The highlights are very nice and more shadow back here. Look at this wonderful little bleed at the ear. Makes it look like a little fur, and you didn't even have to do anything, right? It's just kind of.
All right. Yeah.
Yes, it happens. And the eye is so sensitive, so good. Anyone?
Beautiful.
Do I have any other? I think that's it, right? Did anyone else put up that I missed?
Could you guys, would you mind just for one last quick second to just everyone hold up their piece so I can take a shot of them. Let me get back to gallery and I'm going to put myself out of it again so that I don't have to take me taking the picture. All right, so I'm gonna take a few of them. Oh, got Amanda's face down.
Hold on.
Not in there.
I'll have to redo his whiskers. Remember, I did a boo-boo on his left side. Okay.
Okay, Colleen, you have your masterpiece?
No, mine's upstairs.
Okay, then you can just look like you're having fun. Better than a white screen. There you go. Okay. All right. I love the faces behind that. What is that, Colleen?
A dog ball.
Oh, okay. All right, one more time. Wonderful. All right, that's great. Well, I know that I want to just thank everybody. You guys have just been so much fun. It's actually been wonderful having a small class because I really do feel like we had a little community here, and that was a joy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forward to it.
I had a lot of fun.
Your feedback, and that will
Me
help
too.
us.
Right. Terry Lynn, do you want to say any last words before we let everyone go?
This has been so much fun for me and learning, and it was a new approach, something we hadn't really, well, I hadn't even actually tried before. So the feedback, I mean, I did kind of skip through the blending and the brush strokes and stuff because I thought you guys just wanted to get in and paint. But yeah, it's been a joy. And thanks for the feedback because I'm always improving.
Yeah.
Thank you, Terry Lynn.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks, Terry Lynn. All right, and I'll send everyone obviously another thank you, and there'll be a little link to a little survey if any of you got or evaluation online. If any of you guys have a moment to do that, that would be wonderful. Although we heard most of your feedback, so that's even better because we can talk to you about it. So, all right, ladies, I hope we will see you again soon, either online or slowly but surely, we're going to get back in that studio.
Oh, that'd be great.
So
Yes.
stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Okay, thank
Right.
you.
Bye.
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 Bye.